Hello, lovelies. Welcome or welcome back to the dollhouse. I am your yarn host, Kira, and I don't normally do tutorials, but I have been asked so many times about this shawl that I made. Made this back in October. I was stuck in the hospital for 8 days. And I had my son bring some yarn and some hooks in for me. And I got this done because hospitals are chilly. And those little hospital gowns they give you are not very confidence boosting. And they expect you to walk around in the hallways a lot. So I made a very big, very long shawl just off the top of my head, no pattern. Just wanted to do an easy peasy, make it in a couple days so I can wear it shawl. So that's what I did. So today we are going to find out. I can crochet, but can I teach? I don't know. Also, just to let you know, these are my stickers that go out with all the orders. These are my new stickers. They also go out with all the orders. This was designed by Possum Mood from Twitter. My new stickers we'll be doing soon will be these stickers that were designed by Get Lit with Kit over on Twitter. She made those for me. So, new stuff. Yay! So, can I teach? I'm gonna try. If you have any questions, please let me know. Leave me a comment. Do a thing. Say something. Let me know how good I am at this. The camera angle is not great because I don't have a tutorial set up. So props to my oldest for being my cameraman. Next time I'm going to try to have a closer angle on the tutorial part. But if there's any questions, let me know. Let me see if I can teach. My first official tutorial. So our equipment for right now. This is what I have left of a cinnamon swirl cairn cake. This is in the discontinued way sugar. The closest thing they have to this right now is called oyster, but it's a Michael specific colorway. This colorway sugar you still can find on Etsy and eBay if you look, but you can use any color you want. This is a 4-weight, so I am using a 5.5 hook. You can go up to a 6.5 if you'd like. I would not suggest doing more than a 6.5 with this particular pattern. Sooner or later, you're probably going to need a darning needle and a pair of scissors. And these are just fun to have around. I don't use stitch markers for a whole lot, but maybe you do. So, our cairn yarn. Our cairn yarn is a 4-weight. The whole ball, I don't have the label anymore, but the whole ball is 8 ounces, 407 yards, 372 meters. And I would say it takes a little under 1,000 yards to make a very good sized shawl. Let's get started. So I use a 5.5. You can use anything. I wouldn't go above a 6.5, but that's just for yarn consumption. The larger your stitches, the bigger your drape, but also the more yarn you consume. I hate magic rings. I do not do magic rings. I don't like to do magic rings. So instead, we're going to take just our slip knot, and we're going to do 3 chains. We're going to go back into that first chain, pull the loop through. I pull my chain down so I don't lose the loop. Now, after you're done, you make 1 single stitch. If you pull your tail a little bit, you'll have this nice little loop to work into. So you want to do 3 double crochets, and it all goes into the little loop you made. So you have 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 3 double crochets, and all of this is still working into that loop that you made. Don't worry about where on that loop you're crocheting, because we're going to pull the tail and tighten that circle up. And I like to leave this little bit of chain exposed because that gives you something to hang up the finished project with, but you can actually use your tail and sew that down when you're finished. So you have in all the loop, words, English. So you have all in one loop, you have 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. Now this 2 chain is going to be the point of your shawl. You want to make a single crochet that does not count as a stitch, and turn your work. Now every time you have your first crochet of the row, or the round, or the lap, or whatever you call yours, you want to put 3 double crochets in here. You always want to have 3 double crochets in the first and the last stitch in a row, and that will give you a sturdier neckline foundation. So that's your granny cluster, and then you skip, and you go into the chain 3 times with 3 double crochets. And since this is the point of our shawl, 2 chains, and then 3 more double crochets. And then this is the tricky part. Sometimes your chains will not be exactly edge. They'll curl over a little bit, but you want to make sure that you see where the V in the stitch is. These are your top of your double crochets. You want to skip 2. And then you want to go into that third, and you want to make sure that the first one This is a little tricky, but you want to make sure that your V's on the stitches line up so you get this in the correct stitch. So you go under the loops of that first stitch and do 3 double crochets. Your single crochet and turn your work. So we have now done 2 rounds. You have your foundation round and then your support round. Now we do one more support round. You want to make sure when you're doing your first crochet, after you do that loop to turn, you want to go under both strands in the top of that stitch, and you want to make 3 double crochets. So you have your 3, skip, skip. Oh, look at that. It comes up to a space. Just do your granny cluster in that chain space. And our color's changing. And then we come to the point where we do 3 double crochets. And then a chain of 2, since that's our point. And we do 3 double crochets. I'm pulling from the outside of my skein just because this was the skein that I had left and the outside was very visible. So you have, in your point, you have your 3 double crochets, your 2 chains, 3 double crochets. Next you want to skip, skip. Oh, look, there's another chain space. So we're going to granny cluster in the chain space. So that's 3 more double crochets. And we get back up here to the top. Now again, you want to take, this is the stitch you're working in, and you can see the 2 V's of the loop. This is our skip. This is the 2 strands you want to work your top stitches into. And if you make sure that your top stitches line up, then you will have a straight neckline. If you do not make sure you're getting the proper 2 strands at the top, then your neckline's going to be a little wonky. But, you know, and this is our 3rd row. And always chain 1, turn your work. This is where we start the 2nd stitch, which is just a basic half double crochet. So your first strand always gets 3, your first stitch space. The first stitch in the row always gets 3. Now we're doing single crochet, single double crochets. We're doing double crochets one at a time. So just into each chain space, double crochet in each chain. And you want to make sure as you're doing your single double crochets, you want to go under both loops of each stitch. Now there is a difference if you do front loops or back loops, and whichever you choose to do, you should do them consistently. But you just make a single double crochet all the way down to the corner. Or the point. Now once you get down to the point, you want to do a single crochet in the point, 2 chains, and then a single crochet. Then keep right on doing singles up the line, single double crochets. That's hard to say. Making 1 double crochet through both loops of each stitch until you reach the top. And I do not crochet fast, because fast is not my thing. Now again, this gets a little hairy. When you get up to the top, you want to make sure that you're going into the proper loops on the top, that your stitch V's here line up with your stitch V's below. And this last one, make sure they line up. And this last one gets 3 double crochets. And it's that easy. Make your turn chain, turn. Now when you start back on your granny clusters, you're going to granny cluster, skip 2 granny cluster. So we'll turn our work. First one always gets 3 double crochets. And remember, you can do this yourself. You can do this on your own. You don't need a tutorial. You don't need a pattern. You just need some yarn and a hook. But what we're going to do, we're going to skip this one and skip this one and go into the third. And make your granny cluster of 3 double crochets. Now there are no chains in between the grannies until you get to the point. Skip this one, and go into the third. And I did not write this pattern. I don't actually have a written pattern. This just happened to be what sprung into my head the time before the last time I was stuck in the hospital for a week. Now we have 2 stitches down here, and then your point. So you skip those 2, put your 3 double crochets directly into that point. Two chains and 3 more double crochets to make your granny cluster. And then we skip 2 and go to the third. You want to make sure to get under both of those top loops. the neighbor mowing the lawn, because one of the neighbors mowed the lawn yesterday, so now all the neighbors are freaking out and everybody has to mow their lawn. And then we skip 2 and make a granny cluster into the 3rd. And again, the toughest part about this pattern is following your V's up, because if I did not turn this, I could grab 2 random loops here. But if you follow your V's in your stitches, this is 1, this is 2. So this is our 3rd stitch. So this is our top stitch. And sometimes it's a little futzy to get the correct top stitch. And you do your 3. And rinse and repeat. And Bob's your uncle. We have the beginnings of an Easy-Peasy Shawl. So if you keep doing 3 rows of granny stitches and then 1 row of double crochets, easy peasy, and you can make it as big as you want. It doesn't have to be this big. I like to stop on the double crochet line because then that gives you a simple border. But just grannies go into the spaces. Everything in the point is worked into the spaces, and then skip 2. So if you know how to double crochet and you know how to count to 2 or 3, we should be good, I think. Let me know. Should I start doing this? Should I get a setup that makes it easier for me to do tutorials without having somebody else have to stand there and hold the camera? Let me know. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. I just hit 500 followers the other day. Subscribers, subs. But I need more watch hours still. So, like, share. All the bells and whistles and things. Let me know how I did. Should I keep doing tutorials? I assume as you do them, you get better at doing them. But my assumption is not always correct. Let me know what you think. Until then, be nice. Be nice to each other. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Spread kindness like seeds. It's free. And be the community you want to be in. Bye, lovelies.